What up, YouTube?
For the old man.
Welcome back. OOTP series, episode number 6. We are here to make our way through the 2027 MLB Draft. We previously completed the first 5 rounds. So in this episode, we're going to take care of rounds 6 through 20. And we're just gonna hop straight into this so we can get through it. So let's do that. All right, we're back. We've settled in on a pick here. This was not an easy pick to make. There were several prospects who we keyed in on, but ultimately settled with Josh Davis, an outfielder currently playing center field for his high school team. Again, we typically draft a lot of center fielders because center fielders normally can play all 3 outfield positions. I like to have very athletic, really good outfielders, and I also like outfielders with good arms, or decent arms, I'll say. So with James Davis here, again, high school prospect. He was born in Indio, California, but he went to high school in Massachusetts. He's committed to Oklahoma State. Let's take a look at his profile here. Another thing I like about this kid is he's a switch hitter. So this is the first switch hitter that we've drafted. 5'10", 155 pounds, so not physically imposing by any means, but he looks like he can get the job done. The only other thing too is he has a fairly high bonus demand for someone being drafted in the 6th round. He's seeking $650,000, but we have the money, so we might as well pay him. Taking a look at his attributes. Now he has some development to go here, as you can see with his bat, but from a fielding perspective, I think he's gonna develop nicely. He still has room to develop here. As you can see, looks like he can turn into a really solid left fielder. And again, he can play all 3 outfield positions. Decent range, less than ideal outfield error rating, but I really like his arm. And again, the fact that he's a switch hitter. The only other thing with this guy is that when you look at his stats, he's only played 1 year of high school baseball, or again, I equate that as only started 1 year in high school and no development. So he may take more time to develop, and he may not develop at all, but we'll see. It's a risk that we are willing to take. So that'll be that. Josh Davis with our 6th round pick. That's the first pick of the 6th round. We'll be back with the first pick of the 7th round coming up next. All right, we're back. We've settled in on a pitcher for the first pick of the 7th round. We're gonna go with Neymar, which that's how I'm gonna pronounce it, Neymar Ochoa Jr. Just so happens to be another 2-way player. He's from Venezuela, attended the University of Houston. He's a senior, 6'4", 200-pound right-handed pitcher, 21-year-old. Let's take a quick peek at his profile. So there's a lot to like about this guy, and there are some concerns, some risk concerns with him. He doesn't have the control that you would like to see. His movement is a little bit suspect, but his stuff is out of control. I mean, not out of control. His stuff is nice, let's say. He has a very well-developed fastball and curveball, and even forkball. It's just going to be a matter of if he can control his pitches. I like his velocity, so he's an over-the-top delivery guy with a 96 to 98 velocity. So this guy, that's the stuff component. That's why he has that stuff there. Is all that oomph behind his pitches. Really brief look at his stats from his college career. They even have his high school stats on there. He turned it on his senior season, if you see that. He didn't play his freshman year, so he just had his, so you see that he skipped 24 because he's a senior. He's a college senior with only 3 years of college stats. So he's definitely a risk, but we're going to take it. We're running out of pitchers to select from in the draft, or decent pitchers with good overall and potential stars. So we want to make sure we get another good pitcher here, and that's our 7th round pick. We'll be back with round number 8. Okay, we're back now with our 8th round selection, a college catcher from the University of Georgia, a junior, Ariston Vesey, is how I'm going to pronounce his last name, VC. So he's the first catcher we take off the board. He most likely will not be the last. I like to just draft at least 2 to 3 catchers every year to make sure we have a good pipeline of catchers in our farm system, with catcher being such an important pivotal position to the defense and our pitchers. So let's look at Ariston VC here. Again, a 21-year-old. He's from Tyrone, Georgia. A junior out of the University of Georgia. Take a look at his attributes. He has a decent bat. It can develop a little bit more, but he's, you know, coming along. The 40 out of 50, it's not that great, but he can hold his own, I would imagine. Now, the only thing on here that's questionable, I mean, this isn't the greatest, but the thing that's really questionable is this low on leadership. Typically, I like my catchers to have leadership, but the reason why I went with him is I like his catcher ability and his arm combination. That's one of the best left in the draft right now. There's other guys who have either good catching ability and no arm, or no catching ability and the arm, or neither. So we're gonna roll with him because of that. Quick look at his stats leading up to this point. He has 2 years of development ball in the MLB Prospect League, and then the 3 years of college. He got better in the development league. He went up and down in college. So yeah, he'll be an interesting prospect. We'll see how he pans out. So that's our 8th round pick, catcher Ariston VC out of Georgia, University of Georgia. And we'll be back with the 9th round pick. Alrighty, we're back. We've settled in for a pick for the 9th round selection. We're gonna go with a high school right-handed pitcher by the name of Jamie Pedrosa. He's from Horseshoe Bay, Texas. Midway High School, which is in Waco, Texas. 17-year-old. Let's take a look at his profile. This is another high school kid without any development experience, so much for our preference of development players. He's one of the best high school players remaining on the board. I like his injury proneness listed as durable. That's always a good thing. He played against average competition in high school. Take a look at his attributes. He has some ways to go on the development front. He's listed as a 3-pitch guy, but really, when you look at how underdeveloped that changeup is, he's really a 2-pitch guy. He has a 91 to 93 velocity. Anything over 90 is good. I'll even consider some guys who are 88, 89. They can always develop more velocity. Decent defensive pitcher. Quick look at his high school stats. He appeared to somewhat, I was gonna say he progressed each year, but he kind of had a setback his senior year. I wonder if that was an injury. His innings almost got cut in half. But anyway, we are not gonna spend too much time on this. Just want to show the pick and what the pick looks like at the time of the selection. Jamie Pedrosa, our 9th round selection. We'll be back with round number 10. All right, we've settled in on a pick for the 10th round. We are going to go with a college shortstop, a junior out of the University of Utah, Chris Ray, a 21-year-old switch hitter, 6'1", 190, born in East St. Louis, Illinois. Let's take a look at his profile. Another durable guy, currently getting development in the Cape Cod Baseball League for college juniors and seniors. I want to say sophomores too. No, that's for college freshmen through juniors, actually. Look at his attributes. A couple things I really like about him. So even though his star rating is fairly low, he's a switch hitter, so that's a plus. But then also, he's like a utility guy. Look at all these positions he can play at a decent level. And then his infield range is superb at 70. So he's a pretty good fielder. I would say he has a really good glove. His bat, I won't expect too much out of that. But each draft, I want to be able to at least get a web gem in there somewhere. You know, a middle infielder, and then power guys at the plate, and then outfielders with arms, stuff like that. So he definitely fills a need, even though we don't necessarily need a shortstop immediately.
What?
We can hopefully develop him into something that can help the major league club. quick look at his stats. It's good to see improvement. So he improved year over year in college as well as in the development league, at least from the standpoint of his average. I guess from the standpoint of the WAR as well. And they're not done yet with this season. They're only 19 games into it. So that's our pick for the 10th round. Shortstop Chris Ray Jr. out of University of Utah. We'll be back with round 11 coming up next. All right, coming in with our 11th round pick, another high school pitcher standing in at 6'9", 225 pounds, 18-year-old Ian Gray, a left-handed pitcher out of Dublin, Ohio, went to Manchester High School, which is also in Ohio. He's committed to Penn State, which he will never step foot on their campus. He's another one-year high school guy with no development, so high risk, but should be high reward as well. Let's take a look at his profile here. So he has the normal injury proneness, that's okay, it's acceptable. He played against average competition in high school. There's the Penn State commitment. Take a look at his attributes. So a few things that I like about him. One, he's one of the best pitchers remaining on the board. Two, he's a lefty, so you know I love lefties. Those are the main things. The things that are questionable, I mean, his stars aren't the best, but that fluctuates, so I'm not too concerned about that. The one thing that I am kind of concerned with is the low intelligence, but we'll just have to take that chance and see how it plays out. A quick look at his high school statistics from his lone year of high school baseball. Again, this is just the year that he started, let's just call it that, or the year that he played on varsity. It was a pretty decent season. This is what really jumps out to me though, 15 Ks per 9 innings. So yeah, we won't belabor the point. This is our 11th round pick, Ian Gray, a high school left-handed pitcher. Next up, 12th round pick. All right, we are back with our 12th round pick. This time we're taking another catcher, but this will be a high school catcher, 18-year-old Mike Frank, 6 feet, 185 pound catcher from Houston, Texas. He's a switch hitter. He went to Caney Creek High School, which is also in Texas, and he's committed to the University of Oklahoma. Quick look at his profile so we can see what his current attribute set looks like. He has some ways to go on the development with both his bat and his glove, but we think he has decent potential. Another high school kid with no development under his belt, so we don't even have to flip to his stat screen. We can just see all of it here. He just had the one high school season. So that's it. Mike Frank, 12th round pick, catcher out of Houston, Texas. On to the next round, which is 13. All right, we're back. Pick number 13 is in. This is actually a scout pick. You know, there's an option on here for the scout to recommend your pick. I listen to the scout's recommendation for each pick. I don't always agree with it. So far in this draft, this is the first scout pick that I went ahead and agreed with. It's another high school pitcher, Chuck Racine. That's how I'm going to pronounce that last name. He's a right-handed pitcher, 6'8", 210 pounds, born in Norton, Ohio. Went to high school at White Hill High School in Wisconsin. He's committed to Bradley University. And let's take a quick look at his profile and attribute set. So as you can see, he has a lot of development to go, but he has some potential. He's a 4-pitch guy who really only has 3 effective pitches. He's another one-year high school guy with no development, so we're gonna have to improve on that in future drafts, especially if these guys don't pan out. That'll be more reason to not mess with them. But all right, you can see everything here. No need to go to his stat page. I won't belabor the point, just want to show the pick. We'll move on now to the next round, which will be 14. All right, we have honed in on the 14th round pick. This is a college outfielder, currently plays center field, but again, I will stress and overemphasize, just because I draft the player at a specific position does not mean we're drafting him at that position. Doesn't mean he won't play center field, but he can definitely play all outfield positions. That's the thing I'm trying to say. When I draft outfielders, I like for my outfielders to be able to play all 3 positions. Doesn't mean I won't entertain players that are limited to the corners. It just means I have a preference for those who can play all 3. So that's who this guy happens to be. His name is Cam Kidd. 6 feet, 185, out of Mayo, Maryland. He attended UMass Lowell University. Again, he's a junior, 21-year-old. Let's take a quick look at his profile. So as you can see at what his attributes, his bat isn't the greatest. This is not why we're drafting him. Take a look at his position ratings. He looks like he can become an extremely good outfielder, both left, center, and right field. When you look at his defensive ratings, he has good range and error, but the kicker is his arm. This guy has a hose on him. So that's one of the main things why I picked him. His running is decent as well. So even though his bat isn't the greatest, he actually has the potential to make it to the major leagues. Quick look at his bat. He does have 2 years of development under his belt as well. Although one trend that could be considered alarming is that his batting average has regressed each year. But still, that's not going to be a deal breaker for us. We're still picking the kid. And his last name just so happens to be Kidd. Yeah, so that's Cam Kidd, our 14th pick. Again, we won't belabor the point. We'll be back with the 15th round. We got 5 more to go. All right, we're back. We have our pick for the 15th round. Another high school pitcher, left-handed pitcher. This is another scout pick that we went ahead and agreed with. A guy by the name of Mike Narcisse.
What?
Narcisse? I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm just gonna call him Mike Narcisse. 6'1", 175 pounds. He's out of Wilson, North Carolina. Again, he's a high school kid, went to Webb High School. He's committed to Arkansas State University. He's a 2-year high school guy with no development. Let's take a look at his profile. Make sure he's signable. It says extremely hard. Sometimes this says, what does it say? Impossible. So, and I've made that mistake of drafting players that are impossible to sign before, which is just more of an inconvenience than anything. You end up getting a supplemental pick, but still, if you can avoid it, it's best to avoid. Anyhow, looking at Mike's attribute set, as with all the 18-year-olds, he has some development to go. He's listed as a 3-pitch guy, but really only effectively has 2 pitches. His velocity isn't the best, but I guarantee you it'll improve over time. I like his hold runners at 75. Remember I mentioned before, I really like relievers. This guy is a reliever. I really like relievers with high hold running ability. Defensive stat as a pitcher, not the greatest, but that's totally fine. We can see his 2 high school seasons here. Not spectacular, run of the mill for a really good high school player, for a draftable high school player, let's call it that. So yeah, this is our left-handed pitcher. And for those keeping count, we are gonna do a summary or an overview at the completion of this. But so far, this is the 9th pitcher that we've drafted. I try not to go more than half of the picks spent on pitchers, but you never know. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes, but more than likely this may be the final pitcher we take in this draft. 4 picks remaining. No, I take that back, I can't count. 5, there's actually 5 picks remaining. 15, whatever. Anyway, 5 picks left, 16 through 20. We'll be back with number 16. We're back. We've settled in on the 16th round pick, a high school 3rd baseman named Mike Peters. He can also play first base, so let's just say a high school corner infielder. 5'11", 180 pounds. Born in Randallstown, Maryland, went to high school at Hanover High School in Pennsylvania. He's committed to Cal State Fullerton. Again, 18-year-old. He started 3 years in high school, no development. Just like the theme for this draft. Take a quick look at his profile and his attribute set that we're drafting him at. Again, he has a long way to go on the development end. I like his adaptability and work ethic. That's always a plus. He's a decent runner. I mean, you know, it's not the best, but there's definitely worse runners out there. He has the potential to be a pretty decent first baseman. Remember earlier in the draft, which was in the previous episode, in the 4th round, we drafted Colt Myers, who was a 3rd baseman who we said we would convert to first base, which we still may do, you know, but we'll see how it shakes out with these 2 guys. But I think I'll definitely try Mike Peters out at 3rd base for his career, and we'll see how everything progresses. So that is the round 16 pick, Mike Peters. We'll come back with round 17. We're almost there. 4 picks to go. All right, we're back. We have identified the pick for round 17. Another center fielder / outfielder. This time a college outfielder, 21-year-old from Florida State University, a junior from Albany, Georgia, Cameron Davis, standing in at 5'10", 185 pounds. Take a look at his profile. So as you can see with his attribute set, his bat is pretty much non-existent. We'll see if they can develop into a major league level, but I highly doubt it. But even with that, he should make a fairly serviceable minor league player. The things that stand out about him that made him draftable for me, as you can see, it probably jumps out. His running ability, for one, hands down. He has the speed, the stealing attributes, the base running, and then he's a decent outfielder. He has the potential to develop into a decent right fielder. He has the arm. I'm pretty sure we can develop him on the left side as well. He has the range, the error, the arm. I mean, you know, the arm is okay. I think that's more of a left field arm than a right field arm. Let's put it that way. Quick look at his stats. He's a development guy, so he has 3 years of college, 2 years of development in the Cape Cod League. And that's good. You see a significant, not significant, but a pretty big jump between his first year in the Cape Cod League and the second year. So that's always a positive sign. He sort of dropped his senior year on the college side. So that's interesting. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on him and his development. So that's Cameron Davis, our 17th round pick. 3 picks to go. Number 18 coming up next. All right, pick number 18. We are going to go with Jonathan Jones, 6'2", 175 pound shortstop. Let's just call him an infielder. He can potentially play second base or third base. He's an 18-year-old from Honolulu, Hawaii, from Roosevelt High School in Honolulu. He was committed to Neosho Junior College, but he will not be attending. Quick look at his profile. Not the greatest in the world. At this stage in the draft, most of these guys aren't going to make it, but we still draft. Let's see, what about him? Don't want to highlight. So he's listed as a shortstop. I don't think he'll play shortstop unless his infield error can increase. He more than likely will end up at third base, but we'll see how this all plays out. I do like his work ethic and adaptability. That's a good thing. He's only a 1-year high school guy with no development, so that's always risky, but we've drafted them over and over in this draft, so we'll find out soon enough if that was a mistake. All right, that's Jonathan Jones, the 18th round pick. 2 more to go. Number 19 up next. All right, we're back. We've settled in on the pick for the 19th round. It just so happens to be back-to-back shortstops. This one is a pick of our scout, and this kid may actually end up at shortstop. His name is Steve Antrobus, 6'4", 195 pound high school senior, 18 years old, standing in at 6'4", 195 pounds. He went to Moss High School in Oklahoma. He's from Shawnee, Oklahoma, if I failed to mention that. He's committed to Baylor University. He's a 2-year high school starter with 1 year of development experience in the Perfect Game League. Quick look at his profile and attributes. Again, nothing but development here. What I do like about this guy and why I decided to go ahead and take the scout up on this pick is his defensive ratings. He has an okay infield range. Infield error is low, but his infield arm is up there. So I really like that. He has a chance to really pan out at the third base spot, and he can cover at second, short, and definitely at first base. So that's another thing too I may have failed to mention is I really like guys who can play multiple positions, and Steve Antrobus is one of those guys. So that's the 19th pick. We'll be back with the final pick right after this. All right, so we finally made it to the final round, and we have narrowed in on our pick. It will be a third catcher, Xavier Rivera, 5'9", 170 pounds, out of Puerto Rico. 21-year-old junior from Florida International University. And let's take a look at his profile. Played at Florida International, as I mentioned, against good competition. His attribute set isn't the greatest, but for a 20th round pick, I think it's pretty decent. He has some room to grow and develop into his catcherhood, if you will. A look at his stats. He is a 3-year college guy, no development ball, so we'll see how he turns out. I'm not expecting much of him. So yeah, that's it. That's our final pick of the draft. We'll go through one last section where I'll just show an overview of all of our picks from this draft, and we'll wrap things up right after that. Okay, so again, here are our top 7 picks. Again, we had 2 third-round picks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so it's 1 through 6, but since we had 2 third-round picks, there's 7 players here. We're just gonna go through and offer them their bonuses in accordance to what they are requiring. All right, boom. So we've offered all of our draftees. All right, and here's a short list of all the draftees we had. Right now it's sorted by overall. One thing that jumped out at me is already Neymar Ochoa Jr. has 2.5 stars, and we drafted him in just this episode. I want to say he was listed as a 1.5 to 2-star guy, and now all of a sudden, just like that, he already has 2.5 stars. So I think this is what you might call a steal. We got Ochoa out of the 7th round, and he didn't even require a bonus. So for him to come in already looking like the best player, you know, at this point in time, that's pretty good. Here's what it looks like from a potential perspective. And again, this isn't in order. This is not in the order of who was drafted. It's more in the order of potential. Although Cartagena was our first pick, he just happens to have the most potential of all the picks. There he is again. He's going to be in the major leagues real soon, let me tell you. Our second pick was Pat Cameron. Where is he at? Oh, there he is right here. I think he's going to be a good one as well. Let's revisit our third pick, which was Eric Strickland. Where's Eric Strickland? Oh, there he is. Eric Strickland, oh, he looks like he might become pretty good. Well, I mean, he still has development to go, but he's currently in a development league, so that's good. Eric Strickland looks real good. That was a third pick. Eric Archer's the other 3rd round pick. Here he is. He looks like he could potentially be good. Colt Myers, let's find him. He was from the first 6 rounds. Or first 5 rounds, I should say, right? That's him. And remember, we're gonna convert him. Let's just do that now. Oh, we can't. Okay, we'll do that later. We're gonna convert him to first base. And then who else do we have? Oh, Robbie Barber, who was a 5th round pick for us. Where is he at? Oh, he's up here. All right, yeah, man. So that's the draft, the 2027 draft. I feel like we did decent. We won't know for another couple years how this all turns out. I'll try to keep this short list for as long as I can. I believe you can have up to 10 short lists, and we have one already for international signings, and then I make a short list for each draft year, so we could probably hold on to this for another 8 years or 8 seasons, let's call it, before we have to get rid of it. But yeah, so that's it. That's the episode. No need to prolong this anymore. We'll wrap this up here. That's our first draft in the books. When we come back on the next episode, we're going to try to simulate through July along with any drafts for the draft deadline. We'll try to simulate through to the roster expansion. Depending on how long that take, we may or may not be able to simulate through to the end of the season. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that's what's coming up next on the next episode. Until then,
For the old man.
thank you for watching. Peace.